So I've been wanting to do this video for a little while now. It's kind of a little odd, but it's enough. There's enough here for me to definitely do a video on this. I think you guys, should need to know this. Just, it's a perspective. It's a deciphering, if you will, of something that has been interesting this whole time. And that is this cover of The Economist magazine that's been in question for a while. You can see these little nuke thing in the water blowing up, some kind of either satellite or ICBM missile being launched. Just some weird stuff here. Japan, the big panda bear, and notice Angela Merkel's hands. I'm not sure how big this is going to come out in this video, so I zoomed in and I changed the brightness and contrast. Look in the middle of her hand and tell me that is not an all-seeing eye right in the center. She's the centerpiece. She is the centerpiece. Well, technically, Obama's the centerpiece, but next to him, the all-seeing eye. And there's been a lot of speculation, like what this is. They got all this stuff in there, the who's who of the world, and just some very interesting imagery. And it's almost like you got to decipher what they're trying to say. And Marshall Swing thinks he's figured it out. He's one of the only people, by the way, who long ago, when silver was rising, was the one that said it's going to crash down to $14-15. And it sure as hell did. He's also saying it will explode higher when all this goes down. But that's later. So he thinks, and again, he's not saying I know this absolutely to be certain, anything like that. He's trying to figure it out, just like the rest of us. Give me some information. Let me analyze it. Let me speculate on stuff. That's all we can do, and that's all he's doing. But he has an interesting interpretation of everything on here, and I'm going to post you the link where this thing is in its entirety, because I cannot read all of this. He goes down the line of every single thing that's shown in this cover and tells you what he thinks it means. And he also has a chart, little spreadsheet we're going to get into in a minute. But again, you got the all-seeing eye right there. That's plain as day. That's obvious. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read a few little things that he talks about. He says the vehicle, this is a Land Rover Defender apparently. It's a rugged all-terrain military vehicle with gun mounts that made it into civilian production and gained popularity. It is indicative of increased militarization of police forces, SWAT teams, city guerrilla warfare, and armored military vehicles becoming more and more common in everyday life, as well as movies, TV shows, and video games. It is a significant of a sick society where killing has become part of everyday life, whether actual or in various entertainment media. Coupled with the Amazon drone, the terrorists, and the bombs, we see these things have not only crept into society and world politics, and wars have become commonplace and accepted as national security operations. Mankind is enslaved to the military-industrial complex propaganda. The little boy eating noodles. Yes, another hungry innocent whose clothing and noodle basket show he is enjoying the fruit of economic success given to him by the West, but his elders have opted to separate from the West via the BRICS nations and throw off the chains that bind them and enslave them, and the West is very unhappy and will bring them again into submission. The little boy, he appears to be sort of a teeny bopper and innocent, much like the little girl, but notice how his jaw has dropped as he looks at the panic board and realizes what is going on with China. Speaking of the panic board, on the panic board we see green light at the bottom and SIS. What is probably missing from there is crisis. You get to see the SIS because the rest of it's blocked. At the top, we see Federal Reserve and Chi, as in CHI, which is reported to be China. The ball falling off into the bottomless chasm is the red star of communism, and apparently The Economist admits to Chi being China. This tells us that the elite have issued a green light for the fiat machinery of the West to engineer an economic collapse in China and Russia, and they certainly have a very good start on it so far this year, and the end of the year is not even in sight. We will never get past the end of the month. That's what he thinks. Speaking of October, we will never get past the end of the month because he thinks he's got the date figured out. Again, he's interpreting this. So if he gets it wrong, I can't sit here and what a moron. I can't. Because there's just too much stuff going on right now. Lindsey Williams dates, September to December. I mean, the guy's trying to figure it out. And you'll see by his spreadsheet. You'll see him, potential market crash, and he's crossing them off. Nope, not on this date, it's not on this next one, but the next two, etc. Whatever. This is still interesting enough for me to repeat this. I think it is. The Asian lettering. I went to several Facebook friends in Asia seeking answers to the script lettering on the cover. They have told me that the lettering at the top is Japanese and do not know its translation. But an electrical engineer in Singapore gave me the translation of the lettering under the bold 2015. Below that lettering in English, it merely reads, "The World in 2015." But in Chinese, I am told it reads, "The world will become like this." The elite are saying that events will cause all these things to happen, and they broadcast it many months in advance, and they knew it much longer before that. They are the ones who plan these things. Which finally brings us down to the last image, the turtle. I loved turtles since I was a kid and collected them and made a turtle farm in my backyard. They go about their business and never bother anyone else. The marks above the turtle shell indicate fright. This turtle has turned its head and alarm has overcome him. Turtles have 5 toes on each leg. This turtle only has 3 visible legs, not even a reflection of the 4th leg. Thanks to an astute Silver Doctors reader of my articles and good friend in Phoenix, Arizona, I became aware the turtle in this picture has 4 toes, 2 toes, and 3 toes on its legs. 4 is the 4th quarter, 23 is the day, October 23, 2015, appears to be when the elite plan to crash the world's economies and quickly institute their one world government and one world currency in the ensuing chaos. With Obama meeting Xi, Putin, and the Pope, and others of the United Nations last month, starting on September 23rd, the day which starts off Daniel's 70th week, if he's correct. I suspect he laid out all or most of the plans, but I do not know for sure. And now the final image, the Pied Piper. If you go to my website, www.marshallswing.com, and go to the next to last image in the slider, you will see months ago I placed an image of the Pied Piper there. I did this for a very specific reason because I fully understand who the Pied Piper is. The Pied Piper in literature is a story about a guy who came to a town hired to lure rats away, but when the town refused to pay him, he lured all their children out of the town with him via his music. Thus, the Pied Piper was used to lure the bad elements out of the town so the people could have rest from the infestation. When they do not pay their rightful payment to the Pied Piper, they themselves become rats, so the Pied Piper lures the children away from the town in order to protect the only remaining good people in the town from their law-breaking parents and elders. In other words, this is a story we find in the Bible. God had set up his law verbally in the beginning, and creation rebelled, did not pay. So God flooded the earth and started over with Noah and his family. Then things got bad again, so God selects Abraham's family through Isaac and Jacob to deliver his law, written this time via Moses, and that is the law that rules the world to this very day. And the Apostle Paul says in Romans 7:1, a man is under the law of Yahweh as long as he lives. The Pied Piper, Yahweh, God, is coming again. And when he comes, he will take the children away, the righteous and blameless, and all the remaining people will be left to their own devices and destruction. This is the full story of the Bible and the gospel in a nutshell, in an obscure piece of literature. The elite have to crash the economies of the world and form a one world government and one world currency, which will give them total control of the world for their future bidding and pleasure. If they do not do it now, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, etc., Singapore, and their friends will gain world economic domination in a very short time. As I just read, China, middle class, has taken over and beaten America now. They have the number one world class, middle class. We do not. Just happened. Literally days ago. So they will gain economic domination in a very short period of time. Originally, the IMF was supposed to announce an SDR currency change on October 20th. But on August 11th of this year, the executive board moved that date up, as the current basket of currencies and their valuations have been extended to September 30th, 2016. Many overtones and currents are at play on the world scene, and the BRICS nations in particular have set their agenda to rid themselves of the imperialistic US dollar enslavement and be free and have international trade not beholding to the empire of the West and be free to grow beyond the capability of the West, and then they are the ones calling the shots. The elite will not let that happen. The following is the summary section of my prophetic spreadsheet based on the two articles above and under the Cheshire Cat in the picture. I have proven beyond doubt Barack Hussein Obama is in fact the anti-Messiah we read about in the prophecies of the book of Revelation, which I didn't read to you. You can read that yourself. There is far more evidence out there if you are willing to look, and I will publish more in the near future. I have proven the start date of Daniel's 70th week, and in my spreadsheet I overlay all the prophecies that indicate last days time periods in the Bible, and I know where virtually everything happens within 24 hours plus or minus. I do not share that spreadsheet with anyone, but if you are diligent and recalculate on your spreadsheet the things listed in my summary section, you can see when most things are located. If you do a little math, you will find from October 24th, 2015 until the date of the abomination of desolation is 21,230 days, inclusive, and from October 24th, 2015 until the date I show as being Revelation 12:6 and 12:14, which is the dates 4/6/2019, which is 1,260 days. Obama begins his reign as anti-Messiah in the one world beast economic system on October 24th, 2015, after the global economic crash of 2015. The most likely date for that crash, according to the cover of The Economist magazine, if he's deciphered it right, is October 23rd, 2015, as can be best be determined. All the clues are there, and the other time frames set and laid out plainly in front of us. Now, when I see that date, let me open my email real quick because I don't remember if I saved this. October 20... No, I didn't. It's not my email. Back to the Future. October 2015. The actual date in the movie Back to the Future is October 21st, 2015. Now, keeping in mind, you go and watch that movie, and I think it's the scene when the lightning bolt's about to strike the clock tower, and he's about to go back to the future, if he can time it right, or back in time. As the camera pans, boom, there is I'm talking the dollar bill, triangle, pyramid, all-seeing eye. That one. Right there as you pan the camera across on a hardware store. And the number to the hardware store, I think there's like a 911 on it. Imagine that. So we know how they love to throw stuff in our faces. Remains to be seen, but I'm going to now show you his spreadsheet and I put these little arrows just to let it stand out. So you see he's got the economic crash watch, cross out, on all these different dates. I'm not sure. I mean, it's just a watch according to him. It's not what he says this absolutely has to happen. But he thinks he's figured it out. And where my arrows are, 10/23 and 10/24, which is, to be honest, is an interesting date considering the importance of last month's 9/23 and 9/24. Here we go again with October 23 and 24. But nonetheless, he's got quite a view on that cover of that magazine. And when you see the link I'm going to put up in the description box, you can go read the whole thing in its entirety. It's a very interesting perspective and interpretation, I will say that. So much so that I decided to do a video about it. So, with all that out of the way, that's all I got for you right now. I mean, hey, today's the 14th. It's not like we got to wait years or months now just to see. Again, this guy, this is his opinion. This is his interpretation. He's not running around saying, I know it for sure. I know it for sure. Not that I've found anyways from the stuff that I've read about him in his articles. But he thinks he's got it figured out. He thinks it's going to be 9/23/24 or 10/23, 10/24 this month. Remains to be seen. We shall find out shortly, won't we? Take care.